and seen. Okay. Does anyone have a question and have a time constraint? Okay. Does anyone have a question and not have a time constraint? That isn't me, because I do.
What is the nature of your time constraint?
No, I do not have a time constraint. I just have a
Oh,
question.
okay.
I have a question, but no time constraint.
Okay, good.
But I don't.
Sorry.
I don't always have to be like
Caroline, do you
waiting at
have
the door.
just let's check in real
Yeah.
quick. I don't know if Caroline's there, but do you have a time constraint? And did you want to try and do the server stuff? I don't know if you came here with that intention. But I don't, you are muted if you're trying to talk. It looks like she's probably.
My guess is that
absent
probably
for
she
the
wouldn't want
moment.
to do that on a recorded call because it will be showing too much
That makes sense.
central secrets. But yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. Nobody have a question?
Well, there's got to be that last minute
I
thing
know.
that you're like, just like, ah.
Catherine, right? Have maybe some questions about the exhibit stuff, or
Yeah.
It was
is that the same question? Aubrey?
No. I was gonna say I did that thing where on the spot.
it was just being able to move past the upload screens without uploading. Right now it's making me upload without, moving past it.
Okay.
Let me just get it up real quick, sorry. Okay. I guess with this one, I would have to upload, but. Oh, thank you, Regis, for the blank PDF. I don't know if everyone knew Regis created that. I actually love that. Okay, so with this one, it wouldn't let me move past.
If you select no, right? Up above.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe that's what I was doing. So maybe I don't have a question.
Well, let's see what happens if it lets you. It does seem to still be stuck. Let's look and see what variable it's looking for. So I can see this was a custom screen, so it might just be the logic and is a little bit. So click source, and let's look at the bottom to see what variable is triggering this and what question is triggering it. So see there, like where it says addendum exhibits.insert 0 docket sheets bracket 0. It's like in the middle of that code block. That is what's requiring that screen. So we just have to put an if statement there.
Okay.
Look at the top and let's see what variable is being triggered here. The one that says yes or no. What question is that defining? So a little bit lower down. Let's see what the fields are that are listed there. I just want to catch the name of that. So that's just docket sheet.there.any. So that's simple enough. So copy that. Just the field. I'll grab an arrow so I'm not just narrating it. Sorry, it's more helpful if I do that. We want to just copy that variable. Okay. And let's look again at that code block from the bottom of the screen just so we can remember what it is and then we can find that. We're going to look for that exhibit, sort, and combine. So we can't copy both things. So, but let's switch back to the playground now. And let's find that code block that started with exhibit, copy and define, I think. We don't want to find this, what we have in our search bar. We actually want to find the copy and define, I think. Try typing that. Copy underscore.
Is it defined or undefined?
I thought it was and defined, but we're not going to it. So we could probably find the code block a different way. Let's just scroll down. We could look for dot append as well. Here we go. This is what we were looking for, sort and combine, not copy. All right, so right here on line 40, we only want that to happen. So make a new line, just you can hit enter right where you are. And then up here, we're gonna type if space and then paste what's on your clipboard, colon, and then indent line 41. So now that will only run if they have a docket sheet. So as you add other documents here, you might want to use similar logic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
But that will definitely solve it.
Awesome, thank you.
I just thought of something super quick if no one else has a question. I mean, it's not even really a question. It's just I've noticed every now and then when I go to push a commit to GitHub that my GitHub like account integration has been removed and I have to like re-sign in and reauthorize. And I didn't know if that was like causing any issues. It still has let me push and merge the branches and everything after I link the accounts, but I just didn't know if there was something I was doing that was causing them to like disassociate.
It happened to me as well today.
It's interesting that that's happening repeatedly. There might be something we can. I know that they changed the format of their API key that we're using, so we might need to reset that up, and then that might stop that from happening for everybody. But I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Yeah, it's only happened. It happened once, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then again today for the second time. But that was it.
The only other thing that might have happened is that the server restarted. That really shouldn't have affected that, though.
Okay. I just
But
wanted
there's
to.
definitely no harm in reconnecting it. So like that's just a pain for you all, but you won't break anything.
Okay. Good. I was scared I was gonna like, I don't even know, overwrite someone's something or other, but glad to know I'm not breaking everything.
No, it's just the equivalent of just like logging back into a website. Like you're not, by logging into a website, you're not going to break anything, or like anything you've already done. So.
Okay. I have a question if nobody else has a question. All right. So this is just first good news. I got the HIPAA fax that Mike had been working on last semester to fax. I've been sending myself stuff and it's so cool. And I sent it to my dad.
Just about to ask, how are you sending yourself faxes? Do you have?
Well, so
your dad has
I use like a
fax
fax. David suggested just using like a fax burner, but then also like my dad has a fax machine, so I've just been sending him junk. He's like, "Can you stop it? They're like not short," and I was like, "Sorry, didn't know it was working." But so that means that I get to just make it fancy and work on like the little things. And I have a question about using the like address block essentially with something that's not a person. I'm trying to make it so that when we put the hospital information in, it also pulls up addresses, and I'm having a hard time with that. It just shows that doesn't matter how much I learn, some of the basics are still incredibly hard for me. So I tried using what in the 209A you did with the schools. Are there any? Is one that I just looked at as an example, and it was a DA list and then individual, but I can't get it to work. So I just have like hospitals just back to a DA object, the doc assemble object. And I don't know what the best way to go about it is.
So we should just be able to make it an AL individual. That's what we'll probably want it to be. And
So,
L should be capital too. And then let's see where you're referencing it. So look where, yeah, let's see. Exactly. It's probably all we need. There might be like a space at the beginning that's throwing it off. Oh, there's just
I typed
in
it
there.
twice.
Isn't it a different file maybe?
I think so.
I wouldn't change the capitalization. So
Go. Maybe there's 2 spaces here. That's
Oh.
a problem.
Weird. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll need to update stuff downstream, but
Mhm.
basically you would want to make hospital.name. Let's make that hospital.name.first. And then let's change street to, let's delete all the rest of the street, city, zip fields. Keep the fax one. That won't.
Get rid of street as well.
Get rid of street as well, yeah.
Okay.
And then just do a new line. You might, I don't know where you want it in
Awesome.
order, code exactly.
Yeah. Okay. After
Hospital.name.address fields, on address underscore fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
if this works, I am gonna be upset because I've tried it, but not with. I guess I didn't try it as a nail individual.
Yeah. That's, I guess, that was the only difference. Okay, so then you have to
now I need
update
to
where
put
you
this.
reference hospital.name other places in the code and change it to hospital.name.first, or just hospital maybe might even work depending on where you're referencing it. Although I actually don't really know why that would cause an error, but because the name does exist, it's just, oh, anyway.
Maybe I have it somewhere else.
Oh, it's because hospital is already a DA object. So we have to actually run it from the beginning, that's all.
Oh,
It won't delete the DA object and make an event individual if hospital was already created. That's what it was going on.
okay. That was also probably a big part of my problem when I was trying to fix it. Like, nothing was gonna work because it sets it at the beginning.
It's a lot of signatures.
Yeah. I imagined like everyone just like passing a phone around. Gorgeous.
Awesome. And the other thing you'll see from the lots of examples is like if you wanted to set the default state, you could do that.
Yes.
It's one of the parameters in the address fields.
Awesome. Okay. Do you want to see it fax? Anyone curious?
We have a camera
Oh, yeah.
fax machine.
No, and I can use my fax burner. It takes a minute, so I'll send it, but you can watch it send.
Awesome.
The company that uses it does actually do it right in front of a fax machine, like on a YouTube video that I watched to try to learn. And I was like, wow, this is hilarious. It's like so new school and old school together.
I don't know if anyone remembers like the generation of the internet where people just pointed webcams at coffee pots and random things, and then that was content. You watched the screen and it refreshed automatically. You got like a teeny postage stamp sized picture of someone's coffee pot. And it was like the top link on the internet for months.
That's crazy.
It was one of the few links on the internet, I think.
That is part of the reason why.
Birdhouses are always nice for that.
Yeah.
All right, so
It was like a coffee pot in CERN or something, I think.
Nice.
does it still live like on the internet?
I'm gonna have to Google it now.
I always, in my windowless office, back when I was in the office, would pull up and one of my screens sometimes the webcam view from like the Museum of Science, so I could sort of pretend like I was at a window.
That sounds very sad.
It is very.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
I'd know the weather outside though, because otherwise I wouldn't know the weather outside.
Fair enough. So it's sending. It takes a minute, so I'll stop sharing until it does. It's really
Keep in mind,
Awesome. Great job.
these are keys that you might have shown during that
oh,
when publishing.
I'll blur it. Okay, it says it's been delivered.
You could probably change the key too if you wanted, because it's just a test one, right?
Yeah, it's not. It won't
Another option.
stay.
There isn't like a user ID. Yeah.
Does it? I
Just
think
look
it
and
has
see what
the
you- see what
API
you
key
get.
though. I'll just blur it just to make sure. Because it does have the API key.
Quentin was
But-
saying you can make a new API key and delete.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Whatever is simpler. I know video editing is something I won't start doing. Whereas, not that it's a harder task, but context switching.
It is less clicks. Okay, it's been delivered, but it takes a long time to go through this like other fake service. So I'll put a screenshot. It's just so
I
exciting.
want the webcam on your dad now.
I know. He'd
Yeah,
send me a
record.
video if I asked. I'll ask him to send a video later.
What you gotta do is you gotta like do a video call and be like, okay, send a video call. And that's
Yeah.
We can make a whole social media out of it, like a whole thing. Special post.
Yeah, I don't know if I want my dad on social media. That's just a personal issue.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But that was my whole question. Thank you, Quentin.
All right.
Anyone else? Who sent us a message?
Matt, I
Matt.
see
Matt's
you joined.
joined.
You might have a question.
Hi, no, I just haven't been in a while and wanted to see what's going on, but no questions quite yet.
Sounds good.
Well, that could mean that Teaching Tuesday ends
Yeah.
50 minutes before. No, we did start 10 minutes.
Sorry.
early. No, that's okay.
No,
You
no.
don't have to apologize for not
It's
having
not.
questions. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
a chance for anyone else who's stuck on their forms. You know, there's no question too small to ask.
I can show the CVC API thing that I found. If we want to take up the time, if folks don't want to go do other things. So
Well, no one's forced to stay on to see it.
yeah. Let me get that up by itself. Or we can research file size, API stuff. Where are we? All right, I'm opening a new window for this. Not like I have a lot of windows open. All right. So basically, this is using the DA web object. I'll show you how it works first. There's probably a lot of commented code. But so we just enter a location somewhere, and I believe this doesn't work for the territories. There's a lot of like error checking that needs to be done. But oh, right, this is the wrong county. Some counties, oh man, yeah, there's a lot of like checks that need to be done. We can try another one. Someone can give me the name of another county
That's
or
still
an
in
address in
Suffolk
another
County,
county.
an address.
What?
Okay.
That's in the same county? Okay, what's
Same
the-
county,
what's the
Suffolk County,
address?
Boston is Boston and Revere.
Okay,
Um,
so maybe there's Alston?
Somerville will not be still Boston. Somerville, I saw a Somerville address.
We'll try it. We'll give it a shot. No. Well, that's the CDC data for you, just FYI.
As in Boston.
Maybe Salem,
It's
maybe
Essex
all of
County.
Massachusetts is messed up. I don't know. What's an out of state? Somewhere in Texas.
What is it showing? It's showing some results. So what are we seeing that's missing? I was curious.
So what we're seeing that's missing is that the CDC data, I'll show you what we're missing specifically. If I can get the exact API that I'm looking for here. Yeah, okay. So where I'm getting this is the COVID data in here. And so I can do an earlier date, which is fine. And in Firefox, obviously, you can see this much more cleanly. But basically, I'm getting the last item, which in most counties in the US is the most recent item. But
Oh, I
for
see.
us, the community transmission level is null instead of anything else. So if I go up a few, let's see.
Looks like there's a Suffolk County entry, but I see what you're saying. It's
There's this one. So I might subtract 20 instead of 1. But so we obviously will have to find the last like valid address minus 20 just to be
was that
safe.
result you showed us that's for Suffolk County and it has like the last, I don't know, a
So-
couple hundred
so-
results or something?
Yeah, so if you see the date of, there we go, date right here, it is 2020 10/14, whereas it's supposed to be the latest date. Here it's 2021 06/20, right? So which is a later date. This is a list. So it's
So it's just
supposed
not
to have
organized.
like, it's a list. It's supposed to have the latest item last.
What's
but it
how
doesn't.
big is the list? Because maybe you could sort it before you access it.
The list is like, here, let me look at it in Firefox because it's so much easier to see. Integrated list is like, it's only about 564 items long, so that should be doable.
And there's a
um,
unique URL for each county and state.
Yes, exactly.
So you could
So-
totally load that in and sort it,
Yeah, yeah,
and then like
Again-
backtrack until you find the first non-null value.
yeah. So here we go. This is the transmission rate substantial. And what this does is get this thing out of the way. It looks up the county and the state. And then it uses them to fetch the FIPS number right here. You send out the county, you get all the counties, then you sort through them until you find the right county, and that gives you the FIPS number for that county in 2 parts, so the state part and the county part. And then you use that to make a request at this address with the FIPS, which we can see in, we can see in here in the URL. So here we can see this FIPS number.
Okay.
And then, so it makes a request to the URL and gets back JSON. And then right now it gets back. So this object, we can go to the top, we can see it's got the run ID and the integrated county time series external data, which is the list of transmission rate by date. And it takes into account the last 7 days. There are ways to do the calculation, but it was unclear to me what they were like from different data, but they did not explain the math very well. Or maybe I just don't understand math very well. So you get that integrated time series external data, and you get a specific index, which I thought was the last index, but is not. And then you look at the community transmission level. So
Cool. Very,
yeah.
very neat.
That's it. It's no fancy bells and whistles right now, but this was the problem with I'm logging the last Massachusetts county here with -1, so we're not seeing the right information.
Great.
But that was the problem with that information. And here you can see the FIPS code. You see substantial. Boom. I think that's like what I got.
That's great. Yeah. You could, just thinking, you could sort it by date and remove any null values and then get the most recent one that way. If you add like that, those two steps, neither of those should be very like memory intensive.
Yeah. Or I can go backwards until I find a non-null value instead of just removing all. I realize that it's more data science way to remove all the null values, but like I don't need that overhead. I can sort by date and then just go back far enough to find the first non-null value. But the thing is, what you really want to do is find today's data, or if it doesn't exist, yesterday's data. Because if that's null, then like we shouldn't, I don't know if we should give them how far we should go back before, because that's not the accurate information for today, which is what they need.
Well, it's a 14-day window for the declaration.
Oh, I thought it was 7-day.
But
I think they use the calculations.
If the transmission rate has gone back, yeah, if the 7-day moving average, whatever, has dropped, that doesn't mean you don't still have the protection. The protection ends 14 days after the rate has dropped.
Interesting. Okay, so there's
So that means you could
calculations
safely go
to be
back
added.
14 days.
Okay. Well, I mean, you need to go back 14 days to find out if there was any substantial or high rate in the last 14 days, right? Because if it's not just about today, then they could still apply if the last 14 days, if it was high or substantial in the last 14 days. I suspect that calculation happens at the CDC level because that's what they get into the map, which isn't that what you're supposed to check if you're filing. They definitely use the last 7 days for the calculation of rate of transmission, that I do know. So
yeah, I think it's like
it
a
would
moving
take
average.
looking
So
into,
that's the 7 days is a moving average. So that could go up or down. It still could have its own trend line. It's just trying to smooth out like, oh, one day the measurements were off, or hey, it was a holiday, so people say data wasn't entered correctly. It's just smoothing that out. It's not, but that's the number, is the 7-day moving average. And then you look 14 days back.
okay. Well,
I think that's
the
how I
details
interpreted
can
it.
be.
What I
Sure,
don't know is
you
whether
know
you
the
can
law.
look back, hey, 13 days ago that the rate was high, I can file a new declaration. I'm not actually sure. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of these things they did at the last minute. There's, it could be a lot of drafting errors in how they did it. It's not just, sometimes the rules don't make sense when you try to automate them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the lawyer end of things. So you can do that calculation however seems legally appropriate, for sure. Or you can tell me what the calculation is for what is the legally appropriate calculation, and then I can implement it. But like, I'm not making that call. Like, that's not in my comfort zone. So yeah, that's what I got. We used up another 15 minutes. Very good. Or another 10 minutes, actually. Not even 15. Well, you do what you can. Cool.
I do see that Audrey joined. I don't know if Audrey, if there was any questions that you had. We kind of had to run out of things to talk about on Teaching Tuesday.
Oh no, I'm all set. I haven't done anything for a while, so just came to learn.
Good. Yeah. Sounds good. I can stick around for a while if we want to give people a chance to come in later, but
20 minutes after.
At 15 minutes after, people lose their chance. Gone.